Yes, it's your turn, Sagittarius. This is you here, and this is Terra Lumination with your general report for October 2017. There you go. You've done this before, I know you have. So do the same thing again. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising, and then rewrite the whole story just to suit you. Okay? It's perfect. That's how we do it here. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. Stripped down, bare bone, basic. We're telling a story here, okay? And we're going big and broad with the energy. It's not about fortune telling for anything like that, okay, Sag? Hope you understand. So cards were already well shuffled in advance. I'm just going to the last second so that you are a witness, and then we're going to get into it, all right? Just dive right in this time. No heavy duty preambles, none of that stuff. I'm going to really break up the cut here. Ha 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 ha. I hope things are going well for you, Sagittarius. It's been very interesting over here on this side of the screen. I just want to let you know. All right, here we go. There's the core, the heart. This is your legacy energy. That's what you're bringing in with you, okay? Could be from years, weeks, months, something like that. And you could be very aware of it or not aware of it. This is the energy of the ever-present now as you live through this time period that we call October. That's what people do. We break things up and identify them. And this time period is called October. So that's moving through October. And then from that point, you make your decisions about how to evolve and grow and move. Well, that would be here, the activation of your energy, so to speak, like the call to action for from yourself to yourself. And then on the understanding with this energy, we take risk. We're going into the unknown to some degree, or to a large degree. We don't know. So that can trigger the energy of fear of what doesn't work, or what of joy of what could work. Either way, we got to figure out how to get through all this, okay? So that you don't hurt yourself or get caught or trip up or others get in the way. And this would be the energy that would naturally occur by consequence of your decisions over here. Or if you want to, you can just think of this as fate. Doing, and it just lands right in your lap. Okay, whatever it is. And this would be that card we talked about of the fear and the joy. Okay, the expectations. Let's see, the big question mark. Okay, and this would be more to do with like the momentum. You know, think of this as a journey. Let me just do this. I have to do this. It's a little ceremony. Can you see the heart there? Can you see that shape? Without the heart, there's nothing. You know, we could do an intellectual reading here. We could do it by the book. We could break it up into an analysis, whatever. I feel it as a journey of the heart, because without the heart, there's nothing, okay? Nothing. The breathing stops. Everything stops. You know, they talk about the breath. You need air, you need water, you need food, but above all of that, you need your heart to be pumping and the air to be breathing. We're going to look at the bottom card here in just a second, because I feel that's like the weather that permeates the whole situation here, and it's up to you to make the best of it. All right, let's have a look. Four of Cups. I'm starting to lose track about how many times the little Four of Cups has been showing up in readings in the last month or so. It's I've lost count, you know, so what can I tell you? Whenever I see this card, depends on the position, of course, but whenever I see this card, I'm always reminded of this whole concept of energy flows where attention goes. Because as you can see, our friend here is very consumed by the things that are really not very satisfying. It's all that energy of coulda, woulda, shoulda, if only this, if only that, or why didn't I do this, or why didn't they do that? Which of course is the energy of focusing on the problem. Duh, where it hurts in your heart. Whereas we do have the option, we do have a choice to refocus our attention on what works, which is actually being willing to receive the love that is out there already anyway. So this card here might simply be a reminder to be very aware, Sagittarius, when it comes to your core heart energy. Uh, we're going to focus on the solutions, not your problems, okay? And we're going to focus on what works. Focus on the love. Love is always the solution. Love is always the answer. Even though you might be consumed with self-pity and woe, or just feeling sad and gloomy about what could have been, you know? Let's not worry about that too much. Let's take that as a positive note, as a reminder. Don't forget, Sagittarius, attention flows. Sorry. Energy flows where attention goes. Okay, just remember that, Sagittarius. It's just pure physics. All right. So let's have a look at your core heart energy here. Kerblam. Oh, kerblam. I don't know. In my location here, I just wanted to let you know it wasn't huge, but we had an earthquake, and the whole house just went boom, 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 and everything shook and rattled, and then it settled down again. I didn't take it personally, but if you're going through something similar in your own heart, your own life, in your own world, to the very, very core of your being, right into the core of your heart, into all the different chambers of the heart, then so be it. The thing is to allow that to happen. Of course, you don't want to hold on to it or pretend this is not happening, or just trying to stop it from happening. That's even more foolish. So instead, the idea is, Sagittarius, it might be a very humbling experience for you going through October, where you might be feeling like, oh my gosh, I've heard about this, and I've read about it, and I've told other people about it, but now that it's actually happening to me in my life, this is a holy bleep month. Oh my effing God. So if you feel that this energy is happening, I'd like to already go back to this immediately and start to link these two together on the understanding this is probably exactly what you need to know. This is probably exactly what you need to experience in order to wake you up and shake you up, to get you away from all the attention focused on woe is me, and start getting back to focusing on the love that already exists in your life. In other words, a deep, deep recognition that it's about time to integrate the attitude of gratitude in your whole life, starting at the very core, in the chambers of your heart. And we might have to do some deep self-brainwashing and programming in order to do that, okay? But that's very, very necessary right now. If this sense of discombobulation is happening to the point where you're feeling it in your physical life, psychic life, spiritual life, relationship world, jobs, home, family, wherever it's happening in your life, please take it as a very, very powerful sign to wake up, tune into the attitude of gratitude, and realize how incredibly blessed you are simply to be alive and have this experience and this new level of awakening that is about to unfold. Because there's no going back here. Okay, Sagittarius, hope you understand that. Because what's happening is everything that is redundant and obsolete, that does not belong in your life, in your world anymore, regarding this particular, let's say, element of your life, especially the heart, it has to go, because that's the only way you can fill it up with what really works, which of course is the healing power of love. Over here, our little Ace of Cups, our friendly little Ace of Cups, which is simply standing by waiting for you to pay attention. There you go. Let's have a look. What are you bringing in with you? Oh my gosh, the Hermit. Again, this card has been showing up a lot. My feeling is that it's an indication that all of us have to wake up. Not just you, Sagittarius, but I'm saying this for all of us, but in particular for you. You might be bringing in with you a realization that there is no going back. And as things maybe fall apart in parts of your life, it could make you feel extremely isolated and lonely. However, there's a very big difference between lonely and alone, because ultimately we are all alone. Each one of us is highly individuated, although we might not know it. And sometimes we get so lost or even ashamed of the idea that we could be, or even have a right to be our individuated, full on, wonderful, most glorious selves, because we're always so dissolved into the world around us where you can almost lose your identity. And that's another extreme, which is very unhealthy. So it might be that you're coming to a shocking realization that you are an individual and there is no other you. You are the only you that there is. There is no replica. There might be plenty of sages out there. There might be plenty of kindred spirits, but you are you, uniquely and only you. And everything that exists and happens in your life, in your world, happens inside of you. You feel it. Yes, the experiences and the events might be out there, but you feel it inside of you, in your senses, in your body. And that equates to your life, your history, your legacy. And then also with this energy, it's the realization that you have more to learn. You have more to understand regarding the energy of individuation. And without taking it personally so that you feel shockingly alone rather than wanting to be out there with your tribe. Okay? So don't be scared of this. Let's say that to me, this is really encouraging. It's like, let's just say, because these are big cards, okay? It's like the energy of fate. You might be feeling like you're getting pushed or really, really pushed or really, really dragged or pulled into a new way of being that you might not have, consciously, deliberately chosen. So it has to happen basically like the earthquakes. In other words, you can't stop them. It's the energy of tectonic plates. They're going to do what they do. If this is you and this is the energy of the universe, and you decide to like, oh, wait a minute, I'm not going to budge for you. And the energy of the universe says, well, excuse me, Saji, I think you have something to learn here. Oh, all right. So anyway, that's what I'm trying to illustrate, that it's like kind of like you don't have a choice. You have to evolve, and the more you resist the self evolving, the more painful life becomes. Um, if you want to take it full on into healing, because the Tower energy I see is a very potentially powerful, very healing card, in that it destroys anything and everything that's redundant and leaves a new, like, clean, fresh wound where you can start from scratch again, and you need to know what that is and where it is. And so the thing is, the more you resist the need for healing, the more the need for healing persists. I hope you understand that. Okay, rewind it if you need to. Anyway, I believe in that kind of stuff. So the energy here is indicating we need to move on, Sagittarius, because there's no going back. And if it has to be a bumpy ride, it's going to be a bumpy ride. But either way, you're going to find out who you really are and how it's going to happen. What about the perpetual now? So, Sagittarius, this feels like it's very in tune with you. It might come to a reckoning where you're realizing, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to really start to live up to like the Sagittarian truth, which is all about the truth. Sagittarian energy, your energy is very much about being the truth seeker, the explorer, finding higher knowledge, higher wisdom, higher consciousness, higher awareness, because of perhaps the frustration of being, let's say, stuck in the mud of the mundane. That's that's not much fun for a Sagittarius. Like, your natural energy would want to be out there, cutting through the weeds, like cutting to the truth. This is like the vigilante. This is like the whistleblower, going out and exploring. But I feel that this is your energy in the perpetual now, going through October, where you're realizing with this big shakeup that's going on here, where it's like you're seriously getting jolted in like a big attitude change, where it's really, really important to focus on what works, focus on the love, focus not on the problems or the events that seem to be cataclysmically cataclysmically falling apart, and instead realize that this is all a massive, massive wake-up call to individuate yourself and become more in tune with yourself and find out the truth to the point where you're being forced into it almost, where you're going to have to become, let's say, not just vigilant, but more vigilant on yourself about who you are, why you're here, what you're doing here, what is your purpose, what is the meaning of my life, what is the meaning of life as well, of course, but what is the meaning of my life in particular? What are the things that I really need to know? I'm realizing that there's a lot that I still need to know. And as a Sagittarius, that's a big deal. So this is a call to action. Like, I need to get out there. I need to go on my truth-seeking mission. I need to find out whatever it is that I don't know, and bring in all the wisdom and knowledge that I have already so that we can do this major upgrade. And it has to happen on the understanding that there's no going back. It's like everything that you thought was your life in that department of your life, it's gone. Earthquake gone. So there's no option but to move forward and admit that, well, maybe I'm not as wise as I thought I was. Maybe there is a lot more that I need to learn, in which case I might as well just get on with it. Oh dear, that's a problem because it means I have to admit that I don't know something. Ouch. That's a little bit of a ding to my pride. But that's okay. Let's get back. Let's admit that actually, if I'm honest, I have a lot to learn. Okay, let's just say it. Don't keep saying it over and over again. Just admit it. I have a lot to learn. All right. So let's look in a little bit deeper. Now that you understand what's going on here about like attitude adjustments, also understanding the attitude of gratitude, focusing on the love rather than the sorrow. Okay. So let's make a decision. We're going to do this. We're going to move forward. What if it works? Yes. What if it doesn't work? Oh no. Let's have a look. Dun, 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 dun. So with the Knight of Cups here, my feeling, Sagittarius, is that you might have like been living a life where you actually liked really being involved in the problems, like fighting, like, I'm going to fix this, I'm going to solve that. And like, it's like that warrior energy almost, where like you like being at war, like, because it's very satisfying, very fulfilling, like, oh, I get to win. Sometimes I lose, but a lot of times I get to win. But the energy here, it feels to me, is that it's almost like, it's time to walk away. Sometimes it's you don't have to be at war with yourself or others or the world or your life or your concepts or beliefs or anything. And instead, you know what? It might be an idea to admit it as a concept that, maybe war isn't all there is. Maybe we can actually come back from the wars, treat ourselves, be kind to ourselves, and bring home the love, come back to the love, so to speak, that is there. In other words, some people are war junkies. Some people are battle junkies. They can't stop themselves. They don't feel like they have a life or that they exist unless they're in a state of conflict or deep conflict. And you don't have to be that way. It's perfectly possible to have a life which is filled with joy, which has the experience of joy. And there's no shame in that, okay? You don't have to feel that your life is so fulfilling because of all the drama and the strife and the activities and the conflicts. No, it's actually possible to feel very deliciously fulfilled in a state of love. But that's a very important decision to actually choose to do that, deliberately disengaging oneself from conflict and changing the attitude, refocusing everything towards love. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Do you see what we're driving at here? Come home to love, refocus all the attention on to what really counts, which is the solution. If you think you're going to be battling all day to get the love, that's one way to do it, sure, and exhaust yourself, but why not actually focus on the love instead of the problems of what's not working? Focus on the solution, okay? So how do we do that? Let's have a look. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Again, this is another card that's been repeating a lot. I don't know why. You know, I do what we can here on Tarot Illumination, but I don't know why this keeps repeating. Maybe you guys will know. You can reinterpret, okay? So let's have a look. Let's go back to here with the prevailing conditions, okay, where the indication is that you might be too focused on coulda, woulda, shoulda, and try to figure it out how it should have been or could have been, and forgetting that the real answer is out here. And so that comes to a very humbling admission for Sagittarians to admit that, wow, maybe I really do have to move on. Maybe I really do have to, set down my my furry, the things that those Sagittarian warriors types like to wear, like those big animal wolf furs and, big leather sandals and like, Jennifer Lawrence type swords and all these wonderful, Nordic costumes, warrior costumes, Viking costumes. You don't have to do that. You can actually like have a home life, have a family life, have love in the home, but it's on the understanding that you might have been deeply immersed and loving of what you thought was your life. And realizing that there's a whole other way to exist would imply having to let go of something that you love. Like, war junkies, battle junkies, conflict junkies, they really like that. So you take that away from them. It's like taking, a bottle of, milk away from a little baby. They turns into a screaming nightmare because that's what they've learned to love. And so the idea here of withdrawing from the conflict, allowing oneself to have a new approach, focus on the love, focus on the solution, means having to admit that there's a whole new level of spiritual journey ahead with a certain degree of naivety and innocence, if we're honest, which involves letting go, walking away from the wars, stepping back home to the love. Love yourself first, tune back into heart energy, allow all the redundant, obsolete behaviors and concepts and beliefs to fall away. And understand that you don't have to be a war junkie, a conflict junkie, a stress junkie, or anything like that. It's okay to be happy and calm and centered and mellow inside and gracefully let go of all that stuff that you loved so much and just put it in the history books and understand that it's time to move on, even if you don't exactly know what you're doing or where you're going or how to do it. The important thing is to admit that it's time to move on gracefully, with no judgment, no remorse, no bitterness, nothing. It's just a gentle acceptance that life moves on. It's not one static thing. It is a continuous evolutionary cycle, and we're moving through it right now. Okay, Sagittarius? Now, remember, this is a general reading. I don't know if this is going to resonate with you in any way, shape, or form. Maybe if it does, maybe it could be anything with your home, your family, money, careers, health, creativity, finances, whatever it is, community, whatever part this resonates, it'll resonate somewhere, okay? So please allow for that. And again, watch for your sun, moon, and rising. So let's see what happens, you know, let's say you understand what we're talking about here and you make the big, bold decision to walk away from the wars, walk away from the conflicts, without any feeling like I still have to prove myself or I have to feel inside that I've won. Because you're in a situation that when you're in a state of perpetual battle, it doesn't even matter who's winning anymore because it's just perpetual battle. There's no winners, there's no losers, there's nothing. It's just war. What's the point? So unless you profit by war. But let's not go there. So, on the understanding that it might feel very weird, like Tarot Illumination, you're saying, I have to walk away from the thing that I love, which is the drama and the conflict. Oh, that's weird. And allow a new truth to unfold and admit that there's more that I need to know. Oh, that's weird. But okay, let's just say, Sagittarius, I'm a Sagittarius and I'm willing to do that. And I allow myself to unfold. What happens? You see, Queen of Wands. Okay, let's just forget the gender. Let's just focus on the energy here. By, let's say, being really honest with yourself about what's actually going on in this particular um, corner of your life where this is happening, and you, let's say, humbly, gently, shyly admit that, yep, I know what you're talking about. I get it. I understand. But here's the thing. Once you make that decision to walk away from the conflict and say, you know what? I don't need that anymore. And then they can't fight you if you're not willing to fight them. Huh. How weird is that? Suddenly you've instantaneously, spontaneously created peace. And that's a very weird experience for people who are conflict junkies. And that peace can be very weird and wobbly and wonderful. But eventually, once you get used to it, you realize, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. Because it's like you get to be in a new place. It's like arriving in an oasis where you get a chance to flourish and focus on what works, which is love. And then you get a chance to grow and blossom and shine and become like this new shiny version of yourself where you can now radiate the naturally inherent Sagittarian wisdom without having to be at battle and war about it all. You can actually just be you from your heart core energy, like the remodeled version of Sagittarius, Sagittarius Mark II, and become an inspiration to yourself and an inspiration to others. And the others would love that and trust that because they know that you're the sort who's willing to like get down in there with them. Like, you know what? Let's say I'm a Sagittarius and always look like I'm an awesomely capable winner and achiever and a fighter and warrior, and I can be out there and I can climb all the mountains and come back with all the wisdom for you guys. Well, that's nice. And you're still maybe wearing your wolf clothes and your leather sandals and you've got your swords and all your wisdom packed up in a bag. That's awesome. But you can come down, hang out here with all of us and start actually like living it out, telling the stories, hanging out with us, sharing your light with us, because we want to know. Okay. We love that. We want that. And we would celebrate that. Okay. We would love to be there with you. This is the energy, Sagittarius, of someone who attracts really good people into their life and their world because you're willing to be that light and energy for them. So what's so scary about all this? Oh, it feels to me the scary thing is actually letting go of all the pain and the suffering and the war. Okay? Do I have to kind of like re-explain all this? Because the whole concept of coming back into peace and giving up the conflict is like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. I'm my Sagittarius. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I think. But no, this is like, wow, maybe if this works, I can actually stop this. This doesn't have to be this way anymore with like the Ten of Pentacles where I'm a pincushion and I'm attracting the war to myself and I'm bringing war to and battles to others. It doesn't have to be that way. Wow, that would be so cool if this actually really, really works. Withdrawing from the battlefield. Wow, wouldn't that be amazing? But guess what happens if it doesn't work? You get stuck like this. Ouch. Okay, so let's have a look. So let's say you kind of get where we're going here with this story and you understand like how it all connects. So where does that take us? More swords. All right. It takes you to the understanding that this all happens, this evolutionary process happens by and through the process of decisions. Okay? I know it sounds really trivial, like we're taking all this big spiritual, like, epic journey stuff going on here. And then Eternal Illumination says, oh, well, dear Sagittarius, it all just comes down to making a simple decision. That's it. Are you, Sagittarius, willing to make the decision to walk away from the war, walk away from the conflict, walk away from the battles, and focus on the love? Are you willing to do that? Yes or no? We're asking for a decision. And now you're realizing, oh my gosh, it is that simple. I have to make a decision. Uh-oh. So that's really going to put you face to face with your own truth. Uh-oh. Let's leave it at that, Sagittarius. I don't want to say anything more and spoil it. I hope you get something out of this. Reinterpret the whole thing, of course, however you want for yourself. Make the best of it. Have an awesome October. It's been super to have you. Thank you for so much for coming to Tarot Illumination. I love doing this for you. Okay. Bye, Sagittarius. Farewell.